Welcome to Discover Barnstable, the official podcast of the town of Barnstable, a podcast where you can meet the people who steward the programs and services for the town of Barnstable that connects us to our quality of life. We invite you to join the conversation as we navigate municipal government and our community pathways to help you discover Barnstable. I'm Lynn Poyant, and today I am joined by my fellow co-host and tour guide, Liz Hartsgrove. Hi, Liz.
Hello.
As we dive into this week's topic of discussion, Sandy Neck with Park Manager and Natural Resources Director Nina Coleman and Sandy Neck Operations Supervisor Donna Bragg. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just to give you a little bio for Nina and Donna. Nina has been the Sandy Neck Park Manager for the town of Barnstable on Cape Cod, Massachusetts since 2003, and she became the Natural Resources Director in 2018. Nina spends her time balancing the ecological needs of a dynamic and sensitive beach system with several rare species with the demands of human recreational activities, including off-road vehicle beach use. When the crowds recede, Nina can be found rescuing sea turtles, educating school children about the natural wonders of Cape Cod, and restoring wetlands on the 4,500 acres of Sandy Neck Beach Park. Nina has an MS in Natural Resource Conservation from UMass Amherst, a BS in Environmental Biology from UMass Amherst, and an associate's degree from Cape Cod Community College, which she credits for igniting her passion in ecology. Welcome, Nina.
Thank you for having me.
And Donna Bragg grew up in West Barnstable, and not surprising, Sandy Neck was one of her family's favorite beaches. With the town of Barnstable since 2014, Donna has countless experiences on Sandy Neck with wildlife and people that has provided her amazing adventures every day. So thank you for joining us, Donna and Nina.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So Sandy Neck, it is on the bay side, right? And it is on it's the sandwich border, or over and under and all around, right? So exactly, where is it and why is it important? Like a gem and jewel of Barnstable.
So Sandy Neck, as you mentioned, is on the north side of Barnstable. It takes up the entire north coastline. It has many attributes. It is on the Sandwich Town line, but the Sandy Neck proper is in the town of Barnstable, so thank you for bringing that up. Sandy Neck is a huge undeveloped resource, undeveloped piece of land, so it provides a wealth of wildlife habitat, recreational opportunities, and preserved, open space. Kind of brings you back to old time Cape Cod when you go there. Sandy Neck has a lot of regulatory things associated with it. It's an area of critical environmental concern, so it's called an ACEC, as is the whole Barnstable Harbor proper. It is, as I said, all preserved because it's open space and it falls under the Wetlands Protection Act. And it also has 8 endangered species associated with it. So it brings a lot to this town. It's very unique for a town to own a property of this size and magnitude. It's mostly on par with like the National Seashore. So it tends to be more like state and federal lands that would be of this size. Yeah. So it's really the jewel, I would say. And sorry, I always say that.
She always does say that. She's been saying it when...
And don't apologize, because it's true.
But people have been taking that and putting other... And there are other jewels in town, but...
Well, it's a crown. It's
we're the biggest jewel.
In the crown of all
the jewels, yes.
So, Nina, when you talk about endangered species, they're not just animals, but you also have endangered flora and fauna as well?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, there's 8, and endangered species can be federal or state listed. So federally listed is our piping plover. Everybody knows that one. And so that, when it's federally listed, means like globally rare. In addition, there's state listed animals that fall under the Massachusetts Endangered Species Act. And we have a number of species, both plants and animals and invertebrates, so bugs, that that are protected under the State Endangered Species Act. So some of the ones that are less known, but just as important and interesting as the piping plover are least terns, which are those, they kind of look like plovers. They are in colonies, and they're the ones that swarm you and attack you. And quite frankly, poop on you when they're protecting their colony and their eggs. So the least terns are state listed, and we have hundreds of those on Sandy Neck. And diamondback terrapin population, which people know around here because we're heavily involved with protecting those and using. They're right here to my left. We use them as outreach. Spadefoot toads, which are on Sandy Neck, and then, as I mentioned, a number of plants and bugs. So a lot going on out there besides plovers. I know that's the one that usually makes it into the newspaper, but a lot of beautiful Cape Cod flora and fauna in addition.
And I have to say that the Diamondback Terrapin Head Start program, which Sandy Neck is known for, and Marine Environmental Affairs, Natural Resources, it's one of the things that gets people so excited, and yet it's serving a critical need to protect those little tiny dime or quarter size turtles, and then actually getting them so that when they get released into the wild, they'll have an excellent chance for survival.
And that program is available not just in the town of Barnstable. I have seen tanks in DY school systems too. So I think, is that correct, right?
Right.
Okay.
We definitely, so the diamondback terrapins is a population of turtles, terrapins technically, that live here year-round. I usually start with that. So we have our sea turtles, which I'm sure my colleague Donna would love to talk about, and those are supposed to migrate. And sometimes they don't leave, and then we have to rescue them. The terrapins are a population that live here, and then they would hibernate in the winter. They are state listed, so we're kind of at their northern range. And so if you go down to areas where the sports teams are named Diamondback Terrapins, there's a lot of them there, but we're right on the edge of their niche, their ability to survive. And so the population is very precious. And so we monitor them, and then we also collect a number of nests, and we head start them. And so that's what you're speaking of. So we actually collect the quarter size animals, and then get them going, get them eating, and then we farm them out to a number of schools. A lot in Barnstable, obviously. We are here in Barnstable, so a lot of people, a lot of classrooms and agencies in Barnstable, but other communities as well. And we want to share the wealth on that. So they're definitely out and about. Those animals are fed and loved upon all winter by the students, and then they are re-released back into the environment in June. And so that is the head start. It's as simple as that. You're taking a tiny little animal that can be eaten by everything, and you're making it a larger animal that has less predators associated with it. And between that and some of our other programs, in my tenure at Sandy Neck, we went from 40 nests a year to 404 this year.
Wow.
So it is
Crazy amount.
extremely.
That's wonderful.
It's working.
It's working.
It's working. It's a lot of fun. Nobody hates a terrapin. They don't. And
I have to say that the students were mentioned, but I know that when there were some terrapins over at the Council on Aging, they had some fans there too. There were people that would sit in the lobby just to watch them.
right. Well, that's what every time that group comes out to release their terrapin, they're the biggest. And I know that they're not being
Well-fed?
overfed. No, it's the fact that they are loved on,
Yeah.
and they're talked to, and they kind of do imprint on you. We have one at the gatehouse. I've had one every year, and probably before me. So when I come in the morning, he knows Mama's there, and she's going to feed him. But I also take him out, and I show him where he's going to go when he's a big boy. Yep.
That's wonderful.
That's
Donna.
awesome. So that just really skims the surface as far as what Sandy Neck is. There's on on the beach area, there's recreational activities and programs and services that you provide. Donna, can you talk a little bit about that? What is available besides just, bathing beaches, right? It's not just a bathing beach. is it?
Not just a bathing
Okay,
beach,
good.
that's for sure. We have, on the front beach, of course, we have the recreational activities with the off-road vehicle. And we also, which is extremely popular. And I remember as a kid, you could go out there and never see anybody. We are definitely the found jewel, so everybody knows where we're at. So we have campers, self-enclosed campers that also camp out there. They can stay up to 96 hours. It is an incredible walking beach because you have from where Bodfish, the public beach is, all the way down to Trail 6 and beyond. That's 4.5 miles, but you can go as far as 6.5 miles out there. So that's the front beach, which if you're a rock collector, amazing place to go and see that.
Heart rocks.
Yeah, Heart Rocks.
I always seem
hugely.
to find a heart
Yes.
rock whenever I'm on there.
Yeah, one of the nicest things, we have so many different groups. We have the Kindest Rock Project that started there on Sandy Neck, and people come from all over, not only the country, but the world to place or to see the Kindest Rocks. But we also have the American Cancer Society, breast cancer survivors that go out and get the Heart Rocks. Super, super, it's a very spiritual thing for them. And so we always let those folks up there. So the front beach, you can have fires at night in the summertime. So there's nothing like the sun setting. And then when it's time to light the fire, to get the fire going, it's a very community and family-oriented beach. And that's just the front beach. Then you turn around and you go to the Great Marsh Trail, which since COVID has become a gym. People have really, really used it. Usually they'd walk to Trail 1, right, Nina, or to Trail 2, but we're seeing them walk all the way down there. And that is an opportunity to see some of the wildlife that's on Sandy Neck. Harrier hawks, snowy owls, coyotes, fox, red-tailed hawks, and rabbits and everything else. But it's an amazing walk, and it's very, very peaceful out that way. And you're going to walk through a maritime pine forest, and you can come out on each of the trails, Trail 1, Trail 2. We don't have Trail 3, Trail 4, Trail 5, or Trail 6. So it's a unique opportunity. People boat to Beach Point in the summertime. So if we don't have it at Sandy Neck, you really don't need it.
No, and it's true. It's very comparable to the National Seashore, which, as Nina mentioned, it's federal land and it's very large, but it's on the Outer Cape. And this is something that in the Mid-Cape area and for our residents, that they have this wonderful opportunity in just haven that they can go and not have to drive all the way, because Provincetown's a long way from here, actually. But over sand permits, you had touched base on that, Donna. I'm sure you get a lot of questions on that.
Sure.
So do you need a four-wheel drive, or can you just go out in your convertible that's not a Jeep? And do you need a permit and, all of that good stuff?
Sure.
So can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Permits are required year-round. If anything touches the sand, whether it's a wheel or a horse, you have to have a permit, and that is a year-round
A
situation.
horse has to have a permit too?
Absolutely, absolutely. So as far as the type of vehicles, with all-wheel drive becoming more and more prevalent, we do have all-wheel drive vehicles that can handle the beach. I'll give you an example. A RAV4 can handle the beach. We do have Jeeps are king out there. There's hands down, that's the number
Naturally,
one vehicle, naturally, out there. But we also have a lot of trucks. We also have a lot, even the Volkswagen Tiguan,
Yeah.
they make it out there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give, as a hint, if you're thinking about a vehicle and you're going to purchase, we get calls all the time. Give us a call at the Gatehouse at 508-362-8300, and we can help you with that, because it's not just the type of vehicle. It's the clearance. Because you have to air your tires down year-round. Everybody has to. And so you need to see if there's anything sticking out underneath the vehicle, like a gas tank or a muffler that you don't want to, there have been vehicles that we've just said, that's sketchy,
Yeah.
and you're going to end up with a lot of repair. So everybody does have to have a permit. The gatehouse is manned year-round. All of our information is on our website, every single thing we're talking about, except for the little hints we're giving here. We're doing our permitting online now, completely online.
That's
But that doesn't
fantastic.
mean you're not going to get help. If you need us, we're going to be around. You can either email the gatehouse or give us a call at the gatehouse. But the online permitting has really, really taken off, and we're seeing the whole town actually getting involved in online permitting for very many different things. And all of Marine Environmental Department everything's online now. So you'd go to the Sandy Neck website. It's right on the front page of the website. It's easy. You click on it, and then you follow the instructions. And again, if anybody needs us, we're there. We're so happy to help.
That's great.
It's not just a permit that they need, though. When they're going out
Absolutely.
on the beach,
That's right.
they need to have a off-road vehicle kit within
That's
their
right.
within their car.
Absolutely.
It includes a shovel,
Right.
a board.
Yep.
Rope,
list-
right?
list-
The tow
Right,
rope.
so here's the thing, and I always tell people this is for your benefit. Sandy Neck employees, if you are in danger, are going to help you. But if you're out there and you're stuck, you want to help yourself, right? So the tow strap has to be at least 15 feet long. There's certain requirements. The board has to be made out of plywood or steel. If it's out of plywood, 3/4 inch, you need to have a tire gauge that goes down to 10 or less, because the maximum we allow in your tires is 18 psi. So you want it to go down. We always tell people it's super soft out there, go down to 15. So you have to have a jack. What if you have a flat? People don't understand what the board is for. It's called a jack board, because if you just put the jack on the sand and you start to jack it up, what's it going to do? Bye-bye. So the shovel. Now, our minimum requirement of a shovel is a military shovel, and I say that is great if you're going to dig a fire pit. But if you are stuck out there, been there 2 weeks ago, completely stuck in one of our vehicles, you have to have a long-handled shovel, because you're going to get up underneath the truck or the car to get the sand away from the frame. Tides, we live and die by the tides. So anything over 9.5 feet will pinch off parts of the beach. You need to know when the tide's coming in. You need to know when the tide's going out. Tow strap is important. All of these things, again, that's all on the website. Right to the left side of the website, it says off-road vehicle, ORV home, and it gives that complete list of equipment.
That's terrific, because I didn't want people thinking that all they needed to go on was a
Yeah.
permit and an all out.
Sure.
You know, they
Oh,
need to
yeah.
be prepared.
That's right. Well, we've actually added another piece of equipment this year, because it just makes sense. When included in your off-road vehicle permit is a fire permit. So if you have the off-road vehicle permit, you don't have to purchase another fire permit. So we always have it in the rules and regulations that you need to put the fire out. Well, we thought we'd get smart this year, and in the regulations, we added a bucket to go get the water to put the fire out. So that's just one more
Smart.
piece of equipment that people will see is new this year.
Yeah, a lot of times people will leave the embers going, and then that's a whole nother
Everything we do is about
challenge.
safety.
And, yeah,
Everything is about safety. If they just bury the fire and it's still smoldering,
The sand actually absorbs the heat,
Sure.
and it can become very hazardous to
Yeah.
anybody that's not
Little kids digging
suspecting
up.
of it.
Yeah.
And seeing it. So speaking of which, Nina, can you talk to us a little bit about the balance between? I mean, this is enormous amount of recreational opportunities for people, and a lot of it's very popular, and since COVID it's become even more popular now, so you have a lot of visitation happening. So how do you balance that customer service component of allowing them to enjoy it, but safely through enforcing regulations?
Yeah, and that is the Sandy Neck mission. That's our mission statement, is balancing conservation with recreation. And it's a struggle. It's a struggle as we continue to see more pressures and different types of uses on the beach and increased uses. So we can track things like off-road vehicle permits, and we can say, oh yeah, it's gone up again, it's gone up again. We can't track how many dog walkers there are on the beach. things that aren't permitted. So, but we know, Donna and I know, that all of those uses are way up. And how is that affecting our natural resources? And I think that's why, staff needs to be even more diligent. And unfortunately, we need to be even stronger with our regulations. Dog walkers are great. I have a dog. I love having my dog out and about. But if your dog is, if you're not picking up after your dog, if you're letting your dog run and they're chasing our snowy owls, and that affects the animals, then our responsibility is to make sure the rules and regulations are being followed with regard to, to proper pet use of the beach. With regard to the off-road vehicle beach, that's even more challenging. Our off-road vehicle beach is extremely popular, and we are often the only off-road vehicle beach open on Cape and off Cape.
Don't tell them that.
For the deep, like the dark, those summer months, like like July, the biggest time of the year. Often our sister beaches are closed, and so what is the balance? That's a struggle that I'm always working with. What is the balance on how many vehicles can be out there safely for the environment and for the people? And our regulatory structure that I spoke about earlier, the ACEC, the Wetlands Protection Act, the Endangered Species Act, that provides very strong requirements of how we can run the beach. So in some ways, that they're set up to protect our open space.
Right. And
so, we have a lot of beach closures because of plovers, but that at the same time is keeping sections of the beach from being overused as well. So, it's a struggle that I continue to have to deal with. I want folks out there, particularly during COVID. We want folks out there. We really want to have a family environment where people can enjoy Cape Cod. Our residents can really, how many people grew up on Sandy Neck? Right. How many people is it like their beach? You're like, what's your beach? It's my beach.
You see so many stickers on the backs of vehicles with the abbreviations on it, and it's like, oh yeah, you can just tell. So, and you're right, it's very personal to them. So it is hard to actually tell somebody that they're not doing something correctly, and it's not for just their activity, but it's for the longevity of preserving this, as we say, it's the gem, it's the jewel, it's the crowning jewel.
And I want to add one more thing that we do is we do a lot of outreach, particularly in the off season. And in season, we're straight out. But the Turtle Head Start program is an example, one of many examples of the educational outreach that we try to do. To young people, to everybody. We do hikes where we're educating folks. So once they're invested, then they're going to care more about maybe letting their dog off leash or walking in the dunes. And once you understand it, you're more likely to protect it. We do a junior ranger program to reach the really young and get them engaged.
Do you have badges for them?
Oh,
Yeah.
we have badges.
Snowy owl badges.
Oh,
Oh, yes.
that's
And
very cool.
And I was going to say, you're teaching the kids to respect wildlife, because when you talk about dogs off leash and everything else, no offense, but there are also people that go off leash, and they
Go off trail.
they get too close to snowy owls. They want to grab a picture and stuff like that, and they can't. You have to be respectful of nature and not intimidate.
Overpower. Well, see,
Yeah.
because they're not there for us just to take pictures of. They're trying to live. And you've seen my snowy owl pictures. I've been
They're gorgeous,
very, very blessed to be out there to get some really good shots. But I also always include, this is a really long lens, and I'm not on top of anything. It's amazing. Like Nina was saying, most of what we do is education. We're not out there to, here's your ticket. It's more educating the public, and the more the public gets vested in the beach, it becomes their beach, and they want to do the right thing. Not saying everybody does that, but for every person, right, Nina, that has done something wrong, we have other groups that come in that volunteer. They pick up trash. They just take care of their beach because it is their beach. So it's so important when we see little munchkins start off with the junior rangers, and as they're growing up, they're starting to come out as teenagers, and then they're coming out later on. So it's a really cool thing to watch people grow up with Sandy Neck, like I did.
Yeah, and that actually brings up a valid point that we can talk about is, do you have seasonal positions that
Oh, yes.
that started with junior rangers, and that was their dream to become a seasonal and then go into a lifetime of love for this?
Definitely. As you heard, I've been there since 2003, so it's been a real pleasure to watch people learn, get these jobs, these beginner jobs for these fields that we're in. Have we had junior rangers? I think we have had junior rangers
Yeah.
come through the system.
Absolutely.
And then, Sandy Neck is marquee. So it's a big name to be associated with, like bird monitoring or natural resource officers, although we have positions open, so come on to our website and have a look. But those kids then, learn and move up through the system and then eventually become colleagues in our field, and it's a real joy.
Yeah, that's
It's
really
exciting to see, especially like on a terrapin release day, to see the kids get so excited and someone say that he's going to, become a biologist.
Yeah.
Because of being inspired by what he's seeing at Sandy Neck.
Yeah.
And I have to say that with your education, you do a lot of education for the general public, because when it's cold stun season, there are ways to, some people's instinct is just to pick up the turtle and bring it off the beach, but that's not what they need to do. There are rules, and you're really good as far as, protocols for how they should handle it, covering it with seaweed and making sure that it's identifiable so that someone who knows what they're doing can go back and collect that animal.
Yeah, well, the great thing about this is with all the information that we get, of course, for us with this cold sun turtles, we take our cues from Wellfleet Audubon, because they're the ones that we work under as far as with that. But the great thing is how people, the first storm, and it could be September, and they're like, turtles? Not yet, not yet. Unfortunately, this year we didn't have that many turtles, but every time you get a chance to be in that presence, the respectfulness that these folks show, bringing us banana boxes to store, put the turtles in, and blankets and towels and everything. It becomes such a team effort, and calling the gatehouse and saying, I've just put a turtle out there, it's got a seaweed over it and a rock beside it and a stake sticking up there. It's amazing, and they learn so much. They learn so much by dealing with this, of how to pick up a turtle, and what the process is after the turtle is picked up. Because that's just the beginning, is getting it out of the cold and getting it out of the wind, and then they're they're taken and they're measured and weighed and made sure that they're viable, and then they're taken by volunteers off the Cape up to the Turtle Hospital in Quincy, and then they're propagated all over the place. All the way down to Georgia and Florida and Texas. Yeah, when they run out of room in our area, they go all over the place to rehab.
That is so
Is that amazing?
Cool.
Yeah.
It is. And actually, that goes into another question that I have. You've touched base on a couple of different collaborative partnerships that you have. You talk about the Wellfleet Audubon, but how about your interactions or dependencies or interdependencies with other departments? I mean, does DPW help you? Because you're kind of isolated, and are you an enterprise or are you on the general fund? So but you do have help from other departments, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. We are an enterprise account or enterprise fund, and that means that all the user fees go back into the program. So it's kind of separate from the general fund, from the taxes. So we can't use taxes to run our programs. And it has a lot of benefits. So that way we can retain surplus and then put those monies back into the program. So the bathhouse, the new bathhouse, well, 2010. Seems like it just happened.
That is new.
Newish. That was funded by user fees
Yeah.
and not by tax money. And that's also how moving forward we're going to continue to grow our program. And that's and I'll finish your question, but that's part of the balance too, right?
Yeah.
You were speaking about the balance, like all of these programs that we're speaking about, all this educational outreach, our Terrapin program, our sea turtle stranding program. All of that has to be funded, and all of that is funded by user fees, by off-road vehicles. So there's that balance again of trying to, do the right thing and provide recreation and still protect the environment. But we do need and rely heavily on other departments in town. DPW does a ton of work for us, maintaining our trails and our parking lots and all the DPW topics.
Yeah.
We look to structures and grounds for our facility maintenance. We use IT, we use HR, we use, all of it is our infrastructure.
And then you have a nice working relationship also with the West Barnstable Fire Department.
amazing.
We
Yeah.
love the fire
Yeah,
department.
we do.
So Sandy Neck is half West Barnstable, half Barnstable Fire Department.
Uh-huh.
So we actually have a great working relationship with both of those. Sandy Neck is, when it comes to an emergency, it's where everything comes together. You can have an emergency that involves police, West Barnstable, Harbor Master, Coast Guard, all of it, all at the same moment. Like the emergency the other day where they had to airlift the duck hunters off the marsh. All of those agencies were involved. But West Barnstable is, closest to us.
Yeah.
The chief is very invested and does a lot of training
Yeah.
of our staff.
We were talking with him earlier, and he was telling us that one of the best days ever on the job
Yes.
was a day that he spent with you rescuing turtles.
Right.
He said it was just a great day.
It was a great day.
So I told him that when he retires, he can go to work for you.
Yeah, we plugged that for you.
Good job.
Yes,
Thank you.
no
Yeah.
problem. Yeah,
I would take the chief. Yes,
I know.
I would
in
take him.
in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat. But yes, the West Barnstable Fire, the relationships that we've built
Yeah.
over the years is how we're able to have all those people on the beach safely.
Yeah,
Because
and
it's hard.
so speaking of which, is it just residents that are allowed on the beach with off-road vehicles?
Yeah,
We
that's
didn't
it.
actually
We
cover
didn't
that. So, or is it non-residents? So
Sure.
I live in Yarmouth. So am I able to get an off-road vehicle permit? Because
Absolutely.
I have one for the seashore because my husband works for the seashore, but it's really, it's a long drive to get up there, and I would love to take my vehicle
Yeah.
over Sands to Sandy Neck if I could.
You can. We have.
I can?
The resident permit is called the resident because it would be a Barnstable resident.
Right.
Town,
Town,
not county.
correct.
That sometimes gets people a little confused.
Yes.
So anybody.
Gets him a lot of confused.
It does, and I understand that. So anybody outside of the town of Barnstable, of course, can have a permit. And it's just a different pricing.
Yeah.
We give preference to town of Barnstable
Clearly.
residents, which is normal. And then we have folks from as far away as Canada, as far away as New York, that are coming just for a couple days in the summer, and they'll get a permit.
We have
So-
Alaska plates out there.
We had Alaska plates out there, right? So Yarmouth, your old hat.
And
sure,
it's a
come on
sticker
down.
that goes on the bumper or
No. On the
what is it?
windshield.
On the
Windshield.
windshield. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, we have a RFID, radio frequency identification. So this sticker is unique to your vehicle.
Yep.
Once everything's put in there, it ties it right into your vehicle so we know who you are.
Ooh.
And then when you go on the beach, it's recorded, and as you come off the beach, it's recorded. This way, we use that for statistics, we use that for a whole bunch of information.
Absolutely.
And that way we know at the end of the night that everybody is
Has
safely
gotten
off
off
the beach.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's really
Yeah.
important. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Great.
Nina, a number of years ago, we did a program with Channel 18 called Seasons of Sandy Neck. Do you have a favorite season on the beach?
Oh, I love the fall. I love the fall. It's so beautiful on Sandy Neck, and it's still summer. The water is still very, very warm. But, that's when we sort of morph into a different vibe. It's a little more locals. A lot of people are fishing that fall, striper season. That's also when we start to look for our stranded sea turtles, which of course we love. But you can be driving down Sandy Neck in the fall. I've looked out over the water and it's like, whales breaching, dolphins, and then, sunfish poking up. And, it's like cue the wildlife. It's real, and a lot of birds are staging at that point. So it really from an ecological perspective, it changes. All the animals are trying to get food on board, get ready to migrate. So there's like the blitzes with the swallows, which you may have seen, the smoke that looks like
Right.
smoke, but it's hundreds and hundreds of swallows,
Right.
and they're blitzing on food sources. So the ecology, the changes, the beach vibe changes. And of course, it's kind of like a big exhale for the staff because we're so on the whole summer.
Yeah.
So fall is amazing on Cape Cod.
I agree.
It is, yeah.
I think we all can agree with that statement.
Yeah.
It's almost like our time.
It is.
Yeah, that we, and it
You
is
can breathe again a little bit.
a little bit. Yeah, yeah. It's not as stifling or suffocating. But Donna, photos.
Photos. Yes.
So as staff, we get, some emails and things of, what you've seen for that day and some beautiful photos. So do you make those photos available for anyone else? Or, because I'm just curious.
Okay.
She lets me, I will say, Donna, I saw on Facebook or
That's
whatever
right.
a stunning picture. Can we use it in e-news? Or can we use it, can I share it? So,
Sure.
And we give her
absolutely.
credit too.
Yeah, and here's the way I look at it. I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, you should be doing a book, or you should be making calendars and selling those, and maybe someday." But I love to share the beauty of where I'm at, and I can't think of a better place than Sandy Neck. I mean, whether it's a sunrise or whether it's seeing a coyote in its natural habitat, or a snowy owl, or the turtles, or anything. Anybody who wants any of my pictures, I've never had an issue with that. Just, like Lynn, she'll just email me, want it, it's yours, take it.
I think we're going to have to plug Melissa Chartrand, our arts and culture coordinator, to do an exhibit on Donna's.
Do you know how long she's
photography.
bugged me about this? Yeah.
Well, I will continue, and I will join the bugging.
Well, I have to say that there's a really nice synergy between arts and culture and Sandy Neck, because a number of years ago I had attended a conference and they were doing 21 in Truro, and it was a shack that was being utilized by artists. And I said to, I don't remember if it was Nina first or Melissa, that why aren't we doing this with Sandy Neck? Because there's a town-owned shack there, and there's been some amazing artwork that's come out of that
Yeah.
program.
Yeah, this is a wonderful year this year, because we actually just settled on a whole bunch of dates for the Art Association to come on out to the halfway house. Or they call it the halfway point house. And so we provide transportation for the folks and get all their easels and photographic equipment in there, and they go out and they'll spend the day. We have had some amazing artwork come out of that. It's a great collaboration.
Yeah.
It really is. And I've had the privilege of just taking some of the photographers on a evening drive before the sunset and throwing them all in the back of the truck and taking them on the Sandy Neck, we call it the Sandy Neck roller coaster ride through some of the trails and stuff to get some really beautiful shots of the different things. So, yeah, they use it. Barnstable High School, they've been out there.
Yep, Matt Kevin.
Yeah, amazing stuff that happens with that, and the artwork that comes out of that, right? And they have one of our staff members as a naturalist out there, and what they've learned, and then what comes out of that just enhances Sandy Neck.
It's almost a
does.
spiritual.
It's very spiritual, absolutely.
And I have to say
just-
that just makes me think that we are going to have you ladies back again and again.
And again,
There's definitely a lot more to talk about.
yeah, no, this has been a joy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Donna. Thank you, Nina.
Thank you.
And thank you, Lynn. And thank you, listeners. So join us next week when we invite Director of Asset Management, David Anthony, in to talk to us about what exactly is asset management and what areas does it serve and how the program works towards connecting the community's past with the present and with our future.
So thank you, listeners, for spending time with us and listening to Discover Barnstable, the official podcast of the town of Barnstable. We hope you found a new understanding of how your municipal government works to protect, engage, and enact for you and our community. Be sure to drop us a line at podcast@town.barnstable.ma.us and let us know what you'd like to learn next. Till next time, thank you, and go discover Barnstable.